All right, now we're going to do another big boy example. We're going to do a three variable system. Now, once again, I've done that check where I'm typing everything into my graphing calculator just to make sure I get the right answer when I'm all said and done. Do too much work on these things to not check. So again, that's second matrix or second X inverse button, and then go over to edit so that you can edit your matrix. I put in a 3x4 matrix. I'm going to quit out of this. I've already done in the previous example this one, so I'm just going to go second enter, and that'll retype in the entry that I just did. But now since I've changed the matrix, it'll solve the different one, this new one, and that should be my answer. I should get x equals 0, y equals 2, and z equals that 1/2. So x equals 0, y equals 2, and z equals 0.5, or 1/2. Right? There. Okay, cool. So now I know what the answer is. Now, the first checkpoint is this z. If I can get to that z and I get 0.5, then I'm hopefully okay, and it's a partial checkpoint. There could be some other errors, but it's at least a partial checkpoint. So I'm taking a look at my matrix, and right here I've got a 1 already, so I'm happy about that. I got to get these two numbers below it to be 0. So I got -2 times row 1. We'll add that to row 3, and we'll put that in row 3. We also have to do -3 times row 1. Add that to row 2, and put that in row 2. You're just grabbing the opposite of whatever number is there, multiplying it by the row with the 1, and add those two rows together. And that's what you do every time in order to get yourself your zeros. 1, -1, 2, -1. All right, -3 times 1 is -3 plus 3, that is 0. -3 times -1 is 3 plus 2 is 5. -3 times 2 is -6, plus another -6 is -12. And -3 times this -1 is 3 plus 1 is 4. My cat has just been glaring at me, but now suddenly I'm very interesting again. Go back to sleep, you fool. Yeah, good kitty. All right. -2 times 1 is 0. -2 times 1 is -2, plus 2 is 0. -2 times 1 is 2, plus 3, that's another 5. We got -2 times 2, that's that is -4 plus 4, that's 0. Yeah. I think she's looking for a comfy place to sleep now. -2 times -1 is 2 plus 8. That is going to get us 10. All right. Now, we're going to move on to our next thing. We got to get a 1 right here. Now, I'm going to do something a little wild here. I could multiply that row by a 1/5, and that'll work just fine. But then I'm going to have 12/5 right there and 4/5 right there. And then that's going to cause me all kinds of headaches. I would much rather multiply this row by 1/5 because that'll divide so much nicer. But that's the wrong spot. But wait a minute. Let's swap these rows around first. Let's take row 2 and row 3, and let's just swap them around because we can do that. Do a quick swippy swap. So 1, -1, 2, -1, 0, 5, 0, 10. 0, 5, negative 12, and 4. And multiplying this new row 2, this 5 and 10, multiplying by that by 1/5 sounds much more appealing. Plus, it gets us that 2, that for y. Well, like, I'm not really locked in on that, but I'm kind of excited about that. But hey, if that falls apart in the future, I'm not going to get too attached to it because I'm not trying to get that quite yet. So I'm going to do negative. So I'm going to do 1/5 times row 2, and that's going in row 2. All right, copy what stays the same. So 1, negative 1, 2, negative 1, 0, 5, negative 12, and 4. And our new row 2 is 1/5 times 0. That's still 0. 1/5 of 5 is 1. 1/5 of 0, that is 0. And 1/5 of 10 is 2. Isn't that a lot easier than having a 12/5 and a 4/5 in those spots? I sure think so. All right, next. We need to get a 0 right here. So we will do negative 5, opposite of 5, times row 2, the spot where the 1 is, and add that to row 3. And that's going to be our new row 3. Copy, copy. Like she left. Like she was about to go to sleep and then she left. I don't know where she went. My cat. Okay. So negative 5 times 0, that's 0, plus 0 is 0. Boy, that's a lot of zeros. Negative 5 times 1, that's negative 5, plus 5 is 0. Negative 5 times 0 is 0, plus negative 12, that's negative 12. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10, plus 4 is negative 6. All right. Now, for my last trick, we need to turn this into a 1. So that's negative 1/12 times row 3. That's going to go in row 3. Up, up. Oh, it's a little far. All right. 1, negative 1. Copying the rows that don't change. Oh, sorry. That basically won't change, but it's still kind of changing. So purple. How about that? Negative 1/12 times 0, that's 0. Negative 1/12 times 0, that's 0. Negative 1/12 times negative 12 is 1. And negative 1/12 of negative 6, that is a positive 6/12, which is 1/2. So now we are at our checkpoint and we're looking really good. This 1/2, that's the same as that. And we actually are especially lucky. We've also got our Y. This is a very rare thing where we also have our Y. So we kind of got a double checkpoint. I'm still going to go back through and I'm going to double check everything. I'm going to do that off camera because it's kind of boring. But this is a good point to kind of double check, make sure everything looks all right, see if there's anything that looks goofy, especially if you wanted to do a really quick check, just go through and check the numbers that you copied. Are all the numbers that you copied correctly? Because that's one thing that can cause some trouble. All right, everything checked out. So now we have just 2 more steps because it looks like there's only 1 row to do, but it's actually going to be in 2 steps. So we're going to take care of this column, make sure that that's all zeros first, and then we'll take care of that negative 1 right there. Don't do it in the reverse order. If you do it in the reverse order, oftentimes you'll like try to fix one thing and then it'll break something else. So Make sure you do it in that order. This one first, and then that one last. Even if it looked like turning that thing into a 0, oh, that looks real tempting right now. I'm not going to do it because when I change one of them, I might mess up the other one. So let's not do it that way. So first thing I want to fix is that 2. So get out of the way, 612. So nobody cares about you. So the 2, we're going to do -2 times row. I'm looking for a 1 in this column. There's one right down there. So that's in row 3. I'm going to add that to row 1. And we're going to put that in row 1. Bum, bum, bum. Copy what doesn't change. Okay. So -2 times 0, that's 0 plus 1, that's 1. Then -2 times 0, that's 0, so nothing happens. -2 times 1, that's -2 plus 2, that's 0. -2 times a half, -2 times a half, that's -1, plus another -1 is -2. Cool, that checks out. Now let's fix this. So we can just add the 2 rows together. We just need to do row 2 plus row 1. We'll put that in row 1, and we should be set. 0, 0, 1, 1/2, 0, 1, 0, and a 2. Green, why not? All right, 0 plus 1, that's 1. -1 plus 1, that's 0. Said that backwards. 0 plus 0, that's 0. And 2 plus -2, that is 0. Does that match what we were supposed to get? 0 to -1/2? Oh, yeah. So x equals 0, y equals 2, and z equals 1/2. We did it. Yay! Now let's do another one.